Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the nominations for our presidential candidates. Pursuant to the convention rules, we will now proceed to a roll call vote of the states to vote on the nominations for the Democratic Party's candidate for the 45th President of the United States. The chair of each delegation or their designee will report the vote of his or her delegate on and following the roll call. Each delegation's tally sheet showing the vote of every delegate will be collected, and all delegate votes will be counted. With that, please welcome our convention secretary, Stephanie Rawlings Blake, to conduct the roll call vote.
Good afternoon, delegates. Are we ready to make some history? My name is Stephanie Rawlings Blake, and I am the Secretary of the Democratic National Committee and the Democratic National Convention. Over the last several months, my office has worked diligently with each of your states and the territorial parties to certify your delegates and other official convention participants. My sincere thanks to each state and territorial party for helping us to bring this moment, the official roll call of all of our delegations. Are we ready? All right. Alabama, you have 60 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The state of Alabama has champions not only in football, but we have champions in civil rights, in voting rights. We have champions for equal pay. And we cast, proudly, 50 champion votes for Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton. And we cast 9 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders.
Don't y'all have one more? I'll count it as an abstention. All right. Alabama, you have cast 50 votes for Secretary Clinton and 9 votes for Senator Sanders. I'll count 1 as an abstention. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alaska! Alaska, you have 20 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, Alaska, the state that is on the front line of climate change with our receding glaciers and our rising oceans. Alaska, which has the most diverse native population in the United States with 229 federally recognized tribes. Alaska, which makes the United States an Arctic nation, casts 6 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton, and 14 votes for the inspiring, progressive Bernie Sanders.
Alaska, you have cast 6 votes for Secretary Clinton and 14 votes for Senator Sanders.
Yes, ma'am.
American Samoa, you have 11 votes. How do you cast your vote?
Ta'alofa fellow Democrats, and Malola Soifua fellow Americans. Madam Secretary, on behalf of Governor Lolo Matalasi Molinga and Lieutenant Governor Lemanu Peleti Maunga, American Samoa, where per capita, more of our sons and daughters proudly wear the uniform of the U.S. Armed Forces than any other state or territory. Home of America's cleanest air year after year. And the last place for the sun to set day after day. Madam Secretary, American Samoa casts its votes according to the committee rules on pledged delegates: 3 for Bernie Sanders and 8. And if you give us more, we'd cast those 2 for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton!
American Samoa, you have cast 8 votes for Secretary Clinton, 3 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you very much.
Arizona! Arizona, you have 85 votes. How do you
I'm
cast your
Congressman
vote?
Ruben Gallego from Arizona, the beautiful state, the natural state. We are proud to say that we are the home state of Cesar Chavez, home state of many native tribes, home state of electing some of the first women leaders in this country. I am proud to be joined here by Jerry Ammett, age 102. Madam Secretary, Arizona cast 34 votes for Senator Sanders.
And 51 votes for the next President of the United States of America, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Arizona, you have cast 51 votes
You did
for
great.
Secretary Clinton and 34 votes
Good job, Jerry.
for Senator Sanders. Thank you very much.
Take your time. Great job.
Arkansas. Arkansas, you have 37 votes. How do you cast your vote?
Madam Secretary, I rise from Arkansas, where we first learned to believe in a place called hope. Where we are equally as proud to be the home of American Poet Laureate Maya Angelou and Civil Rights Leader Daisy Gaston Bates. Arkansas, where his mother and First Lady Hillary Clinton led the fight for access to pre-K education long before it was popular. Where she led the fight for legal aid services before it was popular. Where she led the effort to establish a children's hospital before it was popular. And when she fought for our mothers, our sisters, and our daughters before it was popular. Arkansas, where we are again filled with hope for our children and grandchildren, including my 5 granddaughters, Caitlin, Mary, Bella, Audrey, and Aviana, because we know this is truly a nation that should all be equal. Madam Secretary, Arkansas cast 10 votes for Bernie Sanders, who campaigned from his heart, and who now in unity joins us in supporting Hillary Clinton because he understands what is at stake. And now Arkansas enthusiastically cast 27 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Arkansas, you have cast 27 votes for Secretary Clinton and 10 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you very much. California. California, you have 551 votes.
How do you cast your vote?
California, the state with lots of energy, lots of enthusiasm, and the state that defies Donald Trump on climate change, immigration reform, and the $15 minimum wage, casts for Bernie Sanders 221 votes. And for Hillary Clinton, the next President of the United States, 330 votes.
California, you have cast 330 votes votes for Secretary Clinton and 221 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you very much. Colorado!
Madam Secretary.
Colorado, you have 71
Colorado
votes.
is home to Rocky Mountain.
How do you cast your vote?
Madam Secretary, Colorado is home to Rocky Mountain, Mesa Verde, Great Sand Dunes, and Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Parks, which are some of the world's most wondrous and diverse lands. As Colorado Democrats, we're proud to be the party that fights every day to protect these lands because they are America's lands. Our delegation is happy to announce 41 delegates are casting their votes for Senator Bernie Sanders, 36 delegates for Hillary Clinton, and 1 abstention.
Thank you very much, Colorado. You have cast 36 votes for Secretary Clinton and 41 votes for Senator Sanders with 1 abstention. Thank you very much. Connecticut! Connecticut, you have 71 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, Connecticut, the Constitution state, with a Democratic governor, and as the country has seen through the last few weeks, a walkout, a sit-in, and a filibuster, we have the most aggressive and progressive delegation in the Congress. We are the college home of the former and next President of the United States, but most importantly, the home of the pizza and the hamburger. And as I call on our Honorable Nancy Wyman to read our roll.
Hi, I just want to say that we are the first state to answer the President's call on raising the minimum wage that our next President, Hillary Clinton, will expand on. Yes. Recognize that this state, with the most successful, the implementation of Obamacare in the country. Yes, that was the first idea of Mountain for next President Hillary Clinton. Our state cast our votes. 27 votes for Bernie Sanders and 44 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Connecticut, you have cast 44 votes for Secretary Clinton and 27 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you very much.
Great job.
Delaware!
Delaware, you have 32 votes.
How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, Delaware, home of Vice President Joe Biden. State with a unanimous Democrat congressional delegation, led by Congressman John Carney, our next governor of Delaware.
Delaware is home to our favorite son and our beloved Vice President Joe Biden. Home to tax-free shopping, Dover Air Force Base, and the beautiful beaches of Sussex County. The state that brought you Kevlar and nylon and Gore-Tex. The home of the reigning WNBA Most Valuable Player, Elena Delle Donne. Jazz legend Clifford Brown, and George Bad to the Bone Thorogood and the Delaware Destroyers. The state that started our great nation. The first state to sign the Constitution. Delaware cast 9 votes for Bernie Sanders and cast 23 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Thank you. Delaware, you have cast 23 votes for Secretary Clinton and 9 votes for Senator Sanders. Democrats abroad, you have 17 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Democrats abroad represents the 8.7 million U.S. citizens who live outside the United States. If you're an American to votefromabroad.org to register to vote or request your overseas ballot. Our delegates from around the world include Larry Sanders, the big brother of Bernie Sanders, and Democrats Abroad delegate from England. We cast 9 votes for Bernie Sanders. And 7 votes for the next great president of the United States, Hillary Clinton. And to cast our final vote, here is Larry Sanders.
I want to bring before this convention the names of our parents, Eli Sanders and Dorothy Glassberg Sanders. They did not have easy lives, and they died young. They would be immensely proud of their son and his accomplishments. They loved him.
Democrats.
They loved the New Deal of Franklin Roosevelt, and would be especially proud that Bernard is renewing that vision. It is with enormous pride that I cast my vote for Bernie Sanders.
Thank you very much. Democrats Abroad, you have cast 7 votes for Secretary Clinton and 10 votes for Senator Sanders.
We've done it.
District of Columbia. District of Columbia, you have 44 votes. How do you cast your vote?
Madam Secretary, I'm the mayor of the District of Columbia, the best city in the world, and soon to be the 51st state of our great union. We are 670,000 tax-paying Americans, just like you. And with statehood, and only with statehood, will we have votes in Congress, just like you. The next president of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton, will sign our admission into the United States of America as the 51st state. Madam Secretary, we cast 5 votes for the Honorable Bernie Sanders and 39 votes for the next president, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
District of Columbia, you have cast 39 votes for Secretary Clinton and 5 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you very much. Florida. Florida, you have 246 votes. How do you cast your vote?
On behalf of the state of Florida, the great Sunshine State, the home of Senator Bill Nelson, the state that went blue for President Obama and is going to go blue for Hillary Clinton, I proudly cast 72 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 163 votes for the first woman president of the United States of America, Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much. Florida, you have cast 163 votes for Secretary Clinton and 72 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you. Georgia. Georgia, you have 117 votes. How do you cast your votes?
All right, Madam Secretary, it is an honor to present the 2016 delegation from the great state of Georgia. Our state has been and will continue to be the epicenter of civil and human rights, home to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King, and where the march for social justice is carried on by civil rights legends like our own Congressman John Lewis. And home to the 39th President of the United States, a Democrat, Jimmy Carter, and First Lady Rosalind Carter.
Georgia is a state moving forward. We forged an alliance that is shifting a deep South state to a deep shade of blue. Our burgeoning electorate of young people and communities of color fortifies our state standing as a beacon of progress and hope. And that serves as a celebration of the diversity that has cemented Georgia as the next battleground state in the United States.
Madam Secretary. Madam Secretary, Georgia Democrats are proud to cast 29 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 87 votes for the next President of the United States, Secretary Hillary Clinton.
Thank you so much. Georgia, you have cast 87 votes for Secretary Clinton and 29 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you again. On to Guam. Guam, you have 12 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Did he do it? Madam Secretary, half a day from the island of Guam, a remarkably diverse community and the homeland of the Chamorro people, we have traveled over 8,000 miles and through 9 time zones to cast our only vote for the President and the Vice President. We want a President who is sensitive to our needs, a President that supports our rights for full self-determination and self-governance as ratified in the Democratic platform. Therefore, it is with great optimism that we proudly cast 2 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders, one absent, and 9 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton. Viva Guam!
Thank you very much, Guam.
Viva Democrat!
Guam, you have cast 9 votes for Secretary Clinton, 2 votes for Senator Sanders, and 1 abstention. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Hawaii.
Hawaii, you have 34 votes.
How do you cast your votes?
Aloha mai kako. My name is Kainoa, and it is my great honor to introduce our great senator from the great state of Hawaii, Senator Brian Schatz.
Aloha. The great state of Hawaii, the Aloha State, the prettiest place in the world, the birthplace, the home state of Barack Obama, and a place that has proven that you can go to 100% clean energy, proudly cast its votes.
19 votes for the leader of our revolution, which shall continue. The man who inspired young people nationwide, burners all over this great land, for a future we can believe in, Senator Bernie Sanders, 19 votes.
And 15 votes for the next President of the United States, Secretary Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much, Hawaii. Hawaii, you have cast 15 votes for Secretary Clinton and 19 votes for Senator Sanders. Idaho, you have 27 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, the state of Idaho, the gem state, where we have the most mountain peaks of any state of the lower 48, the deepest gorge in North America, and the longest undammed river in the United States, proudly cast 20 votes for Senator Sanders and 7 votes for Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Thank you very much. Idaho, you have cast 7 votes for Secretary Clinton and 20 votes for Senator Sanders. Illinois, you have 183 votes. How do you cast your vote?
For the great state of Illinois, home of President Barack Obama, home of United States Senator Dick Durbin, home of the next United States Senator Tammy Duckworth. For Bernie Sanders, we give you Representative Clem Balinoff.
Illinois proudly casts for a true progressive and the father of the new political revolution. 74 votes for Bernie Sanders.
For Hillary Clinton, we give you Hillary's lifelong friend, Betsy Everling.
If I can get in here.
Move back, guys, please. Move back.
Hello, fellow Democrats. On this historic, wonderful day, in honor of Dorothy and Hugh's daughter, and my sweet friend, I know you're watching. This one's for you, Hill. 98 votes. Yes.
Illinois, you have cast 98 votes for Secretary Clinton and 74 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you very much. Indiana, you have 92 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Fellow Democrats, in 2008, Indiana turned blue for the first time in 1964 and helped elect President Barack Obama, the United States of America's first African-American president. In 2012, we Hoosiers sent Joe Donnelly to the U.S. Senate. In 3 months, we're going to help create a Democratic majority by sending Evan Bayh back to the U.S. Senate. John Gregg is our next governor of the state of Indiana. And Hillary Clinton as the first woman president of the United States of America. So, on this episode of The Apprentice, we can say, last week they conspired, but their ideas misfired. Their bigotry is tired, their attacks are uninspired, so Mike Pence and Donald Trump, you are officially fired.
Madam Secretary, this year is the 200th anniversary of Indiana's statehood. And Madam Secretary, we're giving ourselves a present. We're going to turn Indiana blue one more time. We're going to send Evan Bayh back to the U.S. Senate. We're going to elect my good friend John Gregg, the next governor of Indiana. And by the way, he's a governor who wants to be the governor of Indiana. And with all of that, it is my pleasure to cast one abstention, 43 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders, and 48 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Indiana, you have cast 48 votes for Secretary Clinton, 43 votes for Senator Sanders, and 1 abstention. Iowa, you have 51 votes. How do you cast your votes?
My name is Sruthi Palaniappan, and I am from Iowa, a state of female firsts. In 1857, the University of Iowa became the first state university to accept women into its degree program.
And I'm Congressman Dave Loebsack, Congressman from Iowa's 2nd District, where in 1869, Arabella Mansfield became the first woman in America to pass the bar and become an attorney.
My name's Dan Holman. I'm president of AFSCME Iowa Council 61, international president of AFSCME International, where 58% of our membership is female. We believe in equal pay for equal work and dignity for all workers.
Madam Secretary, I am Andy McGuire, the delegation chair for Iowa, where it all started. We proudly cast 21 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 30 votes for the first woman to be nominated by any party and the next president of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Thank you. Iowa, you have cast 30 votes for Secretary Clinton and 21 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you very much. Kansas, you have 37 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, and hello, Democrats. We are the great state of Kansas, the birthplace of Ann Durham, mother to our wonderful President Barack Obama. Kansas is home to a rich history of democratic activism, including the first student-led nonviolent civil rights protest, the famous Dockham sit-in. It's also the state where a courageous third grader changed the course of history, overturning Jim Crow laws through the Brown versus Board of Education. We want to give a big shout out to all our KU Jayhawks, K-State Wildcats, and WSU Shockers. Go Shock!
Madam Secretary, the great state of Kansas, home to Secretary Kathleen Sebelius, Governors Bob Docking, John Carlin, Joan Finney, and Mark Parkinson, Secretary of Agriculture Dan Glickman, and Congressman Jim Slattery and Dennis Moore, proudly cast 23 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders. And 14 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Thank you very much, Kansas. You have cast 14 votes for Secretary Clinton and 23 votes for Senator Sanders. Kentucky, you have 60 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, we know the beauty of bluegrass, rolling hills, and the Appalachian Mountains. We gave the world Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time. The Kentucky Derby, the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, and of course, Kentucky Bourbon, the world's finest whiskey. In other words, in Kentucky, we know what a winner looks like.
Madam Secretary, Kentucky's 60 delegates proudly cast 27 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 33 votes for the next President of the United States of America, Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Kentucky, you have cast 33 votes for Secretary Clinton and 27 votes for Senator Sanders. Louisiana, you have 59 votes. How do you cast your vote?
My
Secretary. My name is Senator Karen Carter Peterson, and I chair the Louisiana Democratic Party. And we are one Louisiana. We will not be defined by any natural disaster, nor will we be defined by any act of senseless violence, because we are one Louisiana. Louisiana knows that love trumps hate. We are a melting pot of beautiful cultures, Cajuns, Creoles. We fish, we hunt, we like Rex and Mardi Gras, we like Zulu, and we proudly cast our votes. 14 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 45 votes for the first woman, President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Louisiana, you have cast 45 votes for Secretary Clinton and 14 votes for Senator Sanders.
Did we do that? Did we do?
Maine, you have 30
Madam
votes.
Secretary.
How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, known for our rugged independence and relentless Yankee work ethic, Mainers stand up for their neighbors. Our traditions run as deep as our forests. We are loggers and lobstermen, farmers and fishermen, home of Acadia, Longfellow, L.L. Bean, and Stephen King. Maine has not voted for a Republican in nearly 3 decades. As Maine goes, so goes the nation, and so goes the nation for a Democratic president. Maine cast 18 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders. And 12 votes for Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Thank you very much, Maine. You have cast 12 votes for Secretary Clinton, 18 votes for Senator Sanders. Again, thank you. Maryland, my Maryland! You have 120 votes. How do you cast your vote?
Madam Chair Lady, the great state of Maryland, the birthplace of the great Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, Francis Scott Key, and the author of our nation's Star-Spangled Banner, the home of the United States Naval Academy, the home of the Chesapeake Bay, the largest estuary in the United States and the 3rd largest in the world, the home of the great, great Senator Barbara Mikulski, who in 1986 became the first woman elected to the United States Senate from Maryland and the first Marylander and woman to chair the United States Senate Appropriations Committee, and of course, the leader of the chair tonight, the home of Stephanie Rawlings Blake. Madam Chair, we are elated to cast 36 votes for a truly great man, Bernie Sanders. And we are excited and we are happy to cast 84 votes for the next president of the United States of America, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Maryland, you have cast 84 votes for Secretary Clinton and 36 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you again. Massachusetts, you have 115 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, I am honored to stand here today representing the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, where since the colonists dumped tea in Boston Harbor, we have worked for the common good because we know that we are stronger together. We were first in public education, first in universal health care, and the first state in the nation to pass equal marriage rights for all.
From John Adams to John Kennedy and beyond, we have fought for those without a voice, for those in need, and for all Americans. Just as we were in 1775, we are ready to fight for our nation, our liberty, and the rights of every American to have the country and the future they deserve. I am honored, on behalf of Massachusetts, to cast 46 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 68 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Massachusetts, you have cast 68 votes for Secretary Clinton and 46 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you again. Michigan. Michigan, you have 147 votes. How do you cast your vote?
Madam Secretary, on behalf of the hard-working men and women of the Great Lakes State who make things and grow things for America and who created the middle class of this country, we cast 66 votes for a great Senator, Bernie Sanders, and 81 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much, Michigan. You have cast 81 votes for Secretary Clinton and 66 votes for Senator Sanders. Minnesota. You have 93 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, I am Amy Klobuchar, the senator from the great state of Minnesota, the state of Prince's Purple Rain, and the birthplace of Tim Kaine, the state of Governor Mark Dayton and Senator Al Franken, the state of Walter Mondale, the first person in American history to put a woman, Geraldine Ferraro, on a national major party ticket.
And Minnesota is the home of Hubert Horatio Humphrey, who at the 1948 convention in Philadelphia called on delegates and to the nation to get out of the shadow of states' rights and walk forthrightly into the bright sunshine of human rights. Cast 47 votes for Bernie Sanders.
And Madam Secretary, the great state of Minnesota cast 42 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much, Minnesota. You've cast 42 votes for Secretary Clinton and 47 votes for Senator Sanders. Mississippi. You have 41 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, on behalf of the great state of Mississippi, home of the blues, B.B. King, Elvis Presley, and so on, let me say on behalf of Fannie Lou Hamer, who made this delegation look like the rainbow tonight because of her activities in Atlantic City in 1964, we cast 33 votes for Hillary Rodham Clinton and 7 for Bernie Sanders.
Mississippi, you have cast 33 votes for Senator Clinton and 7 votes for Senator Sanders. Missouri, you have 84 votes. How do you cast your votes?
The great Show Me State, the home of Harry Truman, and the proud alma mater of Tim Tim Kaine, the University of Missouri, and where World Series champions hang out. A state that, while closely decided in our primary, now is united in our determination to change this country. We proudly cast 35 votes for Bernie Sanders and 49 votes, including the youngest Hillary delegate, 17-year-old Rachel Gonzalez, for the first woman president in the United States of America, Hillary Clinton.
Missouri, you have cast 49 votes for Secretary Clinton and 35 votes for Senator Sanders. Montana, you have 27 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Hello from Montana, from Big Sky Country, the home of the only farmer in the United States Senate, John Tesser, and home of our great governor who's protecting our public lands and all of our rivers that run through it. And this year, Montana is going to send Denise Juneau to the Congress of the United States, and she'll be the first Native American woman in the Congress. "100 years ago, Montana sent the very first woman to the United States Congress, Jeanette Rankin. And this year, Montana will vote to send the first woman to the White House. Madam Secretary, Montana proudly casts 12 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 14 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Montana, you have cast 14 votes for Secretary Clinton and 12 votes for Senator Sanders. Nebraska. Nebraska, you have 30 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, my name is Vince Powers. I am privileged to be the chair of the Nebraska Democratic Party. Nebraska is an amazing state, home to nearly 2 million hardworking people. Because our system of splitting the Electoral College vote on November 8th, parts of Nebraska will once again go blue in a sea of red. The most diverse delegation in Nebraska history proudly cast 13 votes for the honest, hardworking Hillary Clinton and 16 votes for the man who electrified Nebraska and the United States, Bernie Sanders.
Nebraska, you have cast 13 votes for Secretary Clinton and 16 votes for Senator Sanders. Nevada, you have 43 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, the fabulous Silver State, Nevada, from Lake Tahoe to the Las Vegas Boulevard, with a population as diverse as its landscape. Also, we are delighted to welcome all of our delegation here with us. You have seen some of them on the stage of this great convention. And with a spirit as wild and free as our Mustangs, we are proud to cast.
Madam Secretary, I am Aaron Ford, the Minority Leader of the Nevada State Senate. And on behalf of the Battle-Born State, whose capital is actually Carson City, hereby cast 16 votes for Bernie Sanders and 27 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Nevada, you have cast 20 votes for Secretary Clinton and 16 votes for Senator Sanders. New Hampshire. New Hampshire, you have 32 votes. How do you cast your votes?
New Hampshire, where we bring Democrats together. Home of the town of Unity, where Hillary Clinton endorsed Barack Obama in 2008. And home of the city of Portsmouth, where Bernie Sanders endorsed Hillary Clinton in 2016. New Hampshire, the Granite State, proud of electing Democratic women leaders. We celebrate Senior Senator Jeanne Shaheen, Congresswoman Annie Kuster, and Carol Shea Porter. And this fall, we look forward to sending Granite strong Governor Maggie Hassan to the U.S. Senate and winning our governor's race for the 7th straight election. And we will turn blue in the presidential race. And reading the numbers will be Kurt Ehrenberg from the Bernie campaign and Donna Soucy from the Hillary campaign.
New Hampshire proudly casts 16 votes for the great Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont.
New Hampshire proudly casts 16 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
New Hampshire, you have cast 16 votes for Secretary Clinton and 16 votes for Senator Sanders. New Jersey.
All right.
New Jersey, you have 142 votes. How do you cast your vote?
Madam Secretary, New Jersey, home of the Garden State. But the home of the only state in this great union with 2 great United States senators, and Senator Bob Menendez and our Cory Booker. I stand before you with our congressional delegations and others, again, a state that is diverse as they come in America, to tell you we are the state that started the revolution, and we want to be the state to continue the revolution again. We proudly cast our votes for the great senator of Vermont. 45 votes for Senator Sanders. And for the next President of the United States of America, the first female in history will be made. 90 votes for Hillary Rodham Clinton.
New Jersey, you have cast 90 votes for Secretary Clinton and 45 votes for Senator Sanders.
Good job.
New Mexico. New Mexico, you have 43 votes. How do you cast your votes?
I'm Senator Tom Udall from the great state of New Mexico. Our state has 2 great national labs which spin ideas from the lab bench to the private sector. Entrepreneurs, come join us. We are so proud of our brave and courageous veterans, including the Navajo Code Talkers. And now our state proudly, our first party chair, the first Native American state party chair, Deb Haaland.
Madam Secretary, the state of New Mexico, also known as the land of enchantment, home to 23 Indian tribes, including 19 Pueblos, 3 Apache nations, and the great Navajo Nation. Madam Secretary, New Mexico is home to the once mighty Rio Grande, where in homage to our ancient agricultural history, which was begun by the Pueblo Indians, our state question is red or green. Chili, that is. In a testament to the fierceness of our Democratic state legislators, our state remains union strong, and IATSE Film Workers Union and Breaking Bad, the show. Madam Secretary, Secretary, as the first Native American Democratic State Party chair in our country, and on behalf of our diverse citizenry, our delegation proudly casts 16 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 27 votes for the first woman president of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
New Mexico, you have cast 27 votes for Secretary Clinton and 16 votes for Senator Sanders.
Okay.
New York, you have 291 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, the great state of New York, the Empire State, the birthplace of women's rights at Seneca Falls. The state with a proud legacy of progressive leadership enacting a $15 minimum wage, paid family leave, passing marriage equality, proud of our partnership with organized labor, and a proud supporter of Puerto Rico. We are the proud home of the dean of our congressional delegation, Congressman Charles Rangel, who is retiring. We are the proud home of the former great president of the United States who brought this nation to new limits, William Jefferson Clinton. And the proud home of the next president of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton. New York State. New York. Madam Secretary, the state of New York pledges 108 delegates to Senator Bernie Sanders and applauds him for his call for unity for all Democrats. And New York State pledges 181 delegates for the next president of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
New York, you have cast 181 votes for Secretary Clinton and 108 votes for Senator Sanders. North Carolina, you have 120 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, the great state of North Carolina, the Tar Heel state, land of great basketball and delicious barbecue, home of a world-class university system, home of the largest military base in the world, Fort Bragg, and proud supporter of our men and women in uniform, the battleground state that will elect Roy Cooper and repeal HB 2. Cast 48 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 70 votes for the next president of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
North Carolina, you have cast 70 votes for Secretary Clinton and 48 votes for Senator Sanders. Thank you. North Dakota, you have 23 votes.
From the Rough Rider state of North Dakota, it is my honor to introduce the youngest state representative in the nation, our party chairwoman and North Dakota Representative Kylie Overson.
Madam Secretary, the great state of North Dakota, home to 5 beautiful tribal nations, the birthplace of the Nonpartisan League movement, which began to reduce the influence of outside corporate interests more than 100 years ago, proudly casts 14 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders, and 7 votes for Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton.
North Dakota, you have cast 7 votes for Secretary Clinton and 14 votes for Senator Sanders. Northern Mariana Islands, 11 votes. How do you cast your vote?
Madam Secretary, Hafaday and Tirawami from the Northern Mariana Islands, we stand here before you for the first time in our history to proudly cast our vote. Madam Secretary, here tonight in the birthplace of the American nation, from the youngest member of the American family, we are proud to cast 2 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders. And 9 votes for the next president, the first woman president of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton. Viva! Viva Mariana!
North Mariana Islands, you have cast 9 votes for Secretary Clinton and 2 votes for Senator Sanders.
Holy cow!
Ohio! You have 160 votes. How do you cast your vote?
Madam Secretary, we are Ohio, the heart of it all, the proud home of the world champion Cleveland Cavaliers, the proud home of our progressive lion, Senator Sherrod Brown, and the proud home of Jim Obergefell, who took on discrimination in our country and made marriage equality the law of the land.
I'm proud to be here with my fellow Buckeyes from the great state of Ohio. This Ohio boy helped Love win last summer. And this Ohio boy and my fellow Ohioans know this: love trumps hate.
The great state of Ohio proudly casts 62 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 98 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Ohio, you have cast 98 votes for Secretary Clinton and 62 votes for Senator Sanders. Oklahoma, you have 42 votes. How do you cast your vote?
The great state of Oklahoma is proud to be here at the Democratic Convention. I'm proud to recognize Isabel Baker, the matriarch of the Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma.
Greetings from this great state of Oklahoma, the 38 tribal nations. I was born in 1929, only 9 years after women were granted the right to vote. I never thought that I would live to see this day. So tonight, I'm deeply honored to help cast our state's votes for the first woman president of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Recognize Cedric Johnson, a Korean War veteran.
8 years ago, I was glued to the television in my home in Muskogee, Oklahoma, as the first African American accepted the nomination for the presidency of the United States. I watched that moment on TV, and I knew that our world had changed forever and had changed for the better. Tonight, 8 years later, we are taking a step forward for equality. The late Jake Simmons, Clara Luper, and the recently departed E. Melvin Porter would be equally as proud of tonight. May God continue to bless the United States of America.
Casting votes for Senator Sanders as the head of his delegation.
Tiffany, I'm proud to announce that Oklahoma, where our state motto is Labor Vincit Omnia, cast 22 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders.
And Oklahoma cast 20 votes for the next president of the United States, Secretary Hillary Clinton.
Thank you. Oklahoma, you have cast 20 votes for Secretary Clinton and 22 votes for Senator Sanders. Oregon. Oregon, you have 74 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, from the mighty Columbia River to the wild Rogue River, from the high desert to the crashing waves of the Pacific Ocean, Oregon home to the Timbers and the Trailblazers, Oregon home to 9 tribal nations and 4 million of the most wonderful people on the planet, Oregon, ready for Hillary, cast 34 votes for Secretary Hillary Clinton. And Madam Secretary, Oregon, feeling the burn, cast 38 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you, Oregon. You've cast 34 votes for Secretary Clinton and 38 votes for Senator Sanders. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, you have 208 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, I am Tom Wolf, Governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And on behalf of all Pennsylvanians, welcome to our Commonwealth. Along with Senator Casey, I am honored to announce that Pennsylvania awards 82 votes to Bernie Sanders, whose fight for inclusion, justice, and fairness has invigorated our party. And I am honored to announce that Pennsylvania awards 126 votes to the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Thank you. Pennsylvania, you've cast 126 votes for Secretary Clinton and 82 votes for Senator Sanders. Puerto Rico, you have 67 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, the delegation of Puerto Rico, the only all-Latino delegation in this convention. La tierra de Sonia Sotomayor, the Latino Hamilton Lin-Manuel Miranda, Ricky Martin, Jennifer Lopez, and many more. And we are also very grateful to Governor Cuomo and our brothers and sisters from New York for all their help and all their assistance. So we salute the delegation of New York from here. We also stand at the forefront of this new era, ready to be part of history, and we proudly cast 23 votes for the senator from the Green Mountain State of Vermont, Senator Bernie Sanders. And we salute their energy and spirit of change. And we also cast 44 votes para la próxima presidenta de los Estados Unidos, la amiga de Puerto Rico, Hillary Clinton. Estamos con ella. Oh, come on.
Puerto Rico, you have cast 44 votes for Secretary Clinton and 23 votes for Senator Sanders. Rhode Island. Rhode Island, you have
Madam
33
Secretary.
votes. How do you cast your votes?
My name is Nicholas Mattiello, Speaker of the House of the great democratic state of Rhode Island. Proud home of the great Senators Jack Reed, Sheldon Whitehouse, and Congressman David Cicilline and James Langevin. Home of outstanding beaches and coastlines, some of the best in the world. Great companies such as CVS, Textron, Hasbro, and now GE. A state that has recently proudly elected the first female governor, Gina Raimondo. The smallest state in the union with one of the biggest hearts. Home of the best restaurants in the country. Great quality of life, great people. Rhode Island proudly cast 13 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 19 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Rhode Island, you have cast 19 votes for Secretary Clinton and 13 votes for Senator Sanders. South Carolina. Yeah! South Carolina, you have 59 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, the Palmetto State, the home of the first in the South primary. It's a state with a rich history of progressive struggle. So many slaves disembarked at Gadsden's Wharf in Charleston, South Carolina, that it's known as the African-American Ellis Island.
Home of the first African-American to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives, Joseph Raine, and the highest-ranking African-American currently serving, Assistant Democratic Leader Jim Clyburn. And before there was Board of Education, there was Briggs versus Elliott. And home of one of the 10 best cabinet secretaries of the 20th century, former governor, former Secretary of Education, Dick Riley.
South Carolina is also home of the Emmanuel AME Church, which has remained strong through the darkest of times, from Digmart Vesey in 1822 to the Charleston 9 and the Emmanuel 9 of 2015.
Home of Coastal Carolina, the National College World Series champions. We South Carolinians have lived by our state motto, while I breathe, I hope. And in that hopeful spirit, and because our Democratic primaries break glass ceilings, South Carolina is proud to cast 13 votes for Bernie Sanders and 46 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
South Carolina, you have cast 46 votes for Secretary Clinton and 13 votes for Senator Sanders. South Dakota. South Dakota, you have 25 votes. How do you cast your vote?
Mitakuyepi, Naha Mitakolapi, Iuha Chante Washtea Nape Chuzapalo. Hello, family and friends. I extend my hand to you from my heart with good feelings in our beautiful Lakota language.
From the great state of South Dakota, land of Mount Rushmore, land that brought us George McGovern, who in 1972, the first convention that practiced affirmative action and changed the face of the Democratic Party delegates forever. Half were women and all minorities were represented. We proudly cast our 25 votes, 10 for the Senator Bernie Sanders, who inspired us all. And 15 for the 45th President of the United States, and the first one who will be called Madam President, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
South Dakota, you have cast 15 votes for Secretary Clinton and 10 votes for Senator Sanders. Tennessee. Tennessee, you have 75 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, the great state of Tennessee, also known as the Perfect 36, the state that ratified the 19th Amendment to give women the right to vote, happily casts 23 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 50 votes for the first woman president of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Tennessee, you have cast 50 votes for Secretary Clinton and 23 votes for Senator Sanders. All right. Texas. Texas, you have 251 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, Texas, the Lone Star State, home of Democratic giants like Lyndon Baines Johnson, Barbara Jordan, Ann Richards, and the twins Julian and Joaquin Castro. Texas, the state where a young progressive woman by the name of Hillary Clinton came down to South Texas along with her skinny, tall, long-haired, bearded boyfriend named Bill to register voters, Latino voters in the barrios of far Texas, cast its votes in the following manner: 72 votes for the progressive champion, Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont. And 179 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Thank you very much, Texas. You have cast 179 votes for Secretary Clinton and 72 votes for Senator Sanders. Utah. Utah, you have 37 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, the great state of Utah, the industrious and beautiful Beehive State, Adventure's first stop as home to 5 national parks, the greatest snow on Earth, and the #1 state for volunteerism, casts 29 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 8 votes for Secretary Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much, Utah. You have cast 8 votes for Secretary Clinton and 29 votes for Senator Sanders. Vermont. How do you cast your 26 votes?
Vermont passes.
Virgin Islands. You have 12 votes. How do you cast your vote?
Madam Secretary, we the people of America's Caribbean, the United States Virgin Islands, the home of the first Secretary of the Treasury of U.S., Alexander Hamilton, the home of the next famous superstar basketball player, Tim Duncan. We, at this time, affirm and about to celebrate 100 years being under the American flag and rule, and deserving of the right to vote for the President of the United States, the leader of the free world, proudly cast unanimous vote for Hillary Clinton, 12 votes. Yay!
Thank you so much, Virgin Islands. You have cast 12 votes for Secretary Clinton. Virginia, you have 108 votes. How do you cast your votes?
From the beautiful Commonwealth of Virginia, where it all began in 1607 in Jamestown, home to 8 presidents, home of so many of our founding fathers and mothers, home to the largest naval base in the world, where 10% of our population are veterans, where we love our veterans, we love our military, and we love their families. Home to our beloved First Daughter and First Lady, Ann Holton. And home to the next Vice President of the United States, Tim Kaine. Virginia cast 33 votes for Senator Sanders. And Virginia cast 75 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Thank you very much, Virginia. You have cast 75 votes for Secretary Clinton and 33 votes for Senator Sanders. Washington, you have 118 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, I am Jackson Ravens, chair of the Washington State Democratic Party. In Washington State, we are proud to be committed members of a party that believes in building bridges, not walls. A party that believes in inclusion, not exclusion. A party that believes in opportunity and not opportunism. The Dream Act and not living in a dream world. And standing up for working families, not standing on top of them. Tonight, Washington State, the Evergreen State under the leadership of Governor Jay Inslee, champions of good progressive policies, and home to 29 federally recognized tribes and urban Indians and Alaskan Natives from across Indian country. Washington has 2 abstentions and is proud, very proud, to cast 74 votes for the inspiring and transformative Senator Bernie Sanders. And 42 votes for the exceptional and groundbreaking next President of the United States, Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Washington, you have cast 42 votes for Secretary Clinton and 74 votes for Senator Sanders.
We did it. Good job, everybody.
West Virginia. West Virginia, you have 37 votes. How do you cast
Madam
your votes?
Secretary, almost heaven, West Virginia, home of the most compassionate people in the world when disaster strikes, and proud to put people first. Cast 19 votes for the next President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton, and 18 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders.
West Virginia, you have cast 19 votes for Secretary Clinton and 18 votes for Senator Sanders. Wisconsin. Wisconsin, you have 96 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, I am Senator Tammy Baldwin from the great state of Wisconsin, and I am so proud to represent the Badger State and our 11 sovereign tribes here tonight. Wisconsin is a state where workers still make things, from ships, tools, and paper, to cheese, brats, and beer. We are home to the Bucks, the Brewers, and America's team, the Green Bay Packers. And we are home to future Senator Russ Feingold. Tonight, we cast 49 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders, and we cast 47 votes for the next President of the United States, Secretary Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much, Wisconsin. You've cast 47 votes for Secretary Clinton and 49 votes for Senator Sanders. Wyoming. Wyoming, you have 18 votes. How do you cast your votes?
Madam Secretary, my name is Anna Caprell. I am the chairwoman of the Wyoming Democratic Party. Wyoming, the equality state and the home of many firsts. The first national park, the first national monument, the first state to guarantee women the right to vote, and the first state to elect a woman governor. Tonight, we are proud to be the last to cast our state votes. 7 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders, and 11 votes for the next President of the United States, the first woman President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Thank you very much, Wyoming. You have cast 11 votes for Secretary Clinton and 7 votes for Senator Sanders. And now to Vermont. How do you cast your 26 votes?
I'm Dottie Deans, chair of the Vermont Democratic Party. On behalf of the great state of Vermont, a state that helped fight and win the revolution that gave birth to our United States of America, the state that helped fight and win the political revolution of 2016, thanks to our Senator Bernie Sanders. A state whose leaders denounced the demagoguery of Joseph McCarthy, and today whose leaders like Madeline Kunin, Howard Dean, Peter Welch, and our own Senator Leahy speak out against the modern-day McCarthy, Donald Trump. On behalf of the home state of Senator Bernie Sanders, who has changed the trajectory of this country in a way that will make the lives of working Americans better for generations to come. Vermont, cast our votes. Vermont casts our votes. 22 votes for our beloved Senator Sanders. And 4 for the next president, Hillary Clinton. It is now my honor to present our Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I move that the convention suspend the procedural rules. I move that all votes cast by delegates be reflected in the official record. And I move that Hillary Clinton be selected as the nominee of the Democratic Party for President of the United States.
Senator Sanders. Senator Sanders has moved in the spirit of unity to suspend the rules. To suspend the rules and nominate Hillary Clinton by acclamation as the presidential candidate of the Democratic Party. All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Pursuant to Rule C8 of the Convention Rules of Procedure, Secretary Clinton has been invited to make an acceptance speech. I have been asked to inform you that Secretary Clinton thanks you and will deliver her acceptance speech at the 4th session of the convention Thursday night.